What's going on, gamers, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC lovers, tech lovers in general? So here we have a video of a direct head-to-head comparison between the Series X and the PlayStation 5 Pro for the new Assassin's Creed Syndicate patch. If y'all didn't know, they released a next-gen patch for it. And then we have the Series X in full backwards compatible power, along with the PlayStation 5 Pro's Boost Mode 2 and backwards compatible power, and they're going head-to-head. And there's going to be some interesting results here. So first and foremost, I'm going to say and just to be honest with people, that I think the Series X, because Microsoft is doing this for a while, has a better backwards compatible system. Sony is pretty much imitating their system and putting it on the Pro. And you're going to see in this video the Series X taking some leads, and overall it actually wins. This is going to be very surprising to people how this happens. There'll be one process where the Pro actually has a little bit better FPS, and that's just in a specific cutscene. But later down the line, a lot of people will wonder why is that happening. Well, it's a matter of backwards compatibility support and using the hardware, the right way. And we're going to see that. So, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. This isn't really a fanboy war here. This is more about seeing the way things actually work and what are the honest results here. So we're not arguing against honest results. And no, they did a good job on the patch. So let me know what y'all think. All right, here we go.
Let's talk about Assassin's Creed Syndicate performance in a bit more depth because it turns out that I actually captured about 3 hours of footage across 4 different versions of the game, 2 Xbox consoles, 2 PlayStation consoles. Interesting stuff here. And basically, what we need to remember is that this game is essentially still.
So we see right there the Series X winning. It had went down to 54, and the Series X is maintaining the 60 here. And like in live gameplay, it does this a lot. This is not surprising because, like I said, when it comes to that type of stuff, it's a lot more about how good are your systems and how did you manage it. A lot of people think that Mark Cerny is like this all genius guy. Not to say that he isn't like great at what he does, but there's other people that do things great too. And if that was the case, PSSR would be in perfect mode, but that's not the case here. So we see this right here, right? It's right in front of people's face. The Pro is not outperforming the Series X. It's not that much more powerful than it. It doesn't have a better CPU in it. It doesn't have better memory than it. It just has a better GPU. But other than that, that's kind of what I wanted to say on that. Let me know what y'all think. We're going to keep going through this.
A last generation app. So essentially, we're looking at back compat plus implementations which stretch across all of these new consoles. Now, we know historically that Xbox did a much better job of this, and this is actually reflected in Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So some really interesting stuff here. Let's kick
So it's not just PSR not being done, but their backwards compatibility system isn't as good as Microsoft's. Just a lot of things to understand here, so people could really like get the truth here, right? Instead of just being ignorant, attacking each other with all that other stuff. I mean, they're still gonna do that anyways because fanboys just can't handle the truth. But it's just funny when you put this in front of their face because there's a lot of scenarios. It's not one scenario; it's multiple scenarios. Series X was taking some leads in some other games in the backwards compatible aspect.
off, I guess, with
They have them all,
just
by the way.
overall performance. Just take a look at some B-roll. It is essentially running pretty much at 60 frames per second. I mean, we've got some open world footage here. Doesn't really matter which version you're looking at, Series X, Series S, Pro, PlayStation 5. By and large, in the streets of London, you're getting 60 frames per second, and that's great. There are some outliers, though. Obviously, those cutscenes, that expensive depth of field effect, that actually causes some remarkable drops in performance across the systems. This three-way here, we've got 2 cutscenes here represented on Series X, PlayStation 5, and the Pro. In the first cutscene here, we're seeing that the PlayStation 5 version, running that old PS4 code, is the least performant of the lot, right? Interesting stuff.
This is the only scenario where that happens, where the PS5 Pro has more frames. This will be explained though.
The Pro, on the other hand, is kind of battling it out with Xbox Series X for the smoothest performance overall. Only applies to cutscenes for the most part here. So to a certain extent, it's academic, but even so, some interesting stuff here because, there's basically the Series X and the Pro trading blows here, surprisingly enough. This second cutscene, which is going to surprise many people here because it's not really the
So we
narrative you
see it,
expect. But
Series X
remember,
again.
this is using back compat. The Series X actually runs faster than the Pro. Interesting stuff here. You can see the way that all versions of the game are basically dropping performance in the same parts. And again, it does seem to be that depth of field for the most part. Doesn't seem to affect gameplay for the most part. Where, as I said, when you're just sort of in the open world, everything kind of seems fine, 60 frames per second, no matter which platform you're running on. Interesting stuff. I will say, though, that the prologue for Assassin's Creed Syndicate does actually feature some areas that are quite heavy on.
Now, you guys see it again. This is not a 45% performance increase. They only said that because they probably found that in one like older game and it went to that, but it drops back down to 30 to 35. They just said up to. That's why they didn't say guaranteed or anything, right? No, it's not even doing that here. I don't even think you get 30 here. The Series X is performing better than that. So this is just another way of giving you guys an inside onto it's not this guaranteed perfect upgrade for everything. That's not the way it works. It's a game by game, case by case basis. And it depends on the situation. Like we saw all the problems with PSSR. And it's not that boost mode has a problem. No, it's just that the Series X console is better for backwards compatibility than the PlayStation 5 Pro console. It's been destroying the PS5 in backwards compatibility. They have better services, like Game Pass is superior. The difference is that Sony has games that you can't get anywhere else only on their system, kind of like Nintendo in a certain way. I own all. I'm not trying to start anything here. I'm just telling people exactly how it is. So we see that, but obviously that's just not going to stay because the future of gaming is to make as much profit and get as much sales and expand the community as much as possible. So PCs can no longer be ignored because it's a platform is just as big as the other ones now. And that's great though. You want gaming to just expand in general. That's what I want to see. The greatest gaming expansion, the greatest gaming development, direction, developers getting free from all this political correctness garbage and just things, just getting back to this gaming type of stuff. And if we have problems here, it's gaming related. You know what I mean? And I don't mind the fanboy stuff and the words people want to get into it, whatever. Come in my channel. I deal with it all the time and I can take it. And, I'm not feminine about it, or masculine over here. But, all in all, though, no excuses. Series X beats it again. And I can put up other videos later on just to show you guys. So it's not blowing it out the water or anything like people were thinking it was going to be. It's just a fantasy. Let's talk facts.
Alpha effects. And this is kind of similar to the depth of field in terms of the impacts that it has to performance. Not quite as pronounced, but even so. And, well, let's take a look at this particular scene from the prologue. The base PlayStation 5 can drop frames here. Now, here's the curious thing. You might have noticed in the cutscene analysis that we just did that the Pro was faster, but not that much faster. And that's reflected in this area here where we're actually running still under 60 frames per second, occasionally some dropped frames there on the Pro, which you don't really expect, right? But, back compat plus, what can I say? Now move on to Series X here, and you can get some occasional dropped frames here, but it's smoother still. So again, that kind of backs up the narrative that we've established so far in terms of how Syndicate plays out on those three systems. Now, Xbox Series S. Interesting stuff, this. Let's do a head-to-head between Series X and Series S.
So I'm not really interested in that because the S is just going to be running at a lower resolution. It holds well, but remember everything it's doing is at a lower resolution, lower settings, like, the sliders and everything. But it holds up well. If you have an S, it's still a good console for its price. But there we have it. Now you guys see more facts. We're not sitting here just talking. This is facts right in front of your face with the numbers. There's no arguing against that. No arguing against math. All right. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Like I said, comment in the comments. Curious to hear about it from the PC fan base, from the Xbox fan base, from the PlayStation fan base. And if the Nintendo base wants to join in, highly doubt it because they're a little bit different. Join in. I don't care. All right, y'all. Peace out. I'll be bringing you more videos. Gonna be doing this for years. Have other types of topics on my channel too. Controversy, exposure, streaming, high quality gaming content, all that. I've been gaming for 30 years and I ain't going nowhere. Peace out, y'all.